Hey guys, welcome back to another skate video, and today I want to go into a few things that you might have missed in season 4 and that you might have not noticed that they were added. It's not too much, but it's just a few things here and there where I want to give you a heads up because they might be flying under your radar, and I think they're quite interesting and you should know about them. And the first one is a new setting that was added, which is called gameplay density. You can find it under settings, then graphics, and then you scroll all the way down to gameplay density. And you can set this from ultra all the way down to minimum, and I'm gonna show you some examples here, or one example where I tried out the different settings and what kind of effect it will have on your gameplay. So what gameplay density basically is that it controls the amount of skaters, pedestrians and vehicles that are simulated and rendered around you, which means that when you set it to ultra, then you will have a lot of people, a lot of vehicles, a lot of other skaters around you that are being rendered, and this will increase the load on your CPU and GPU. If you set this to minimum, then there will be less people around you, but it will also reduce the load on your CPU and GPU. However, what this also reduces when you set this to minimum is that you also have less talking around you, because with season 4 the pedestrians started to talk, so they talk about your tricks, they cheer, or maybe they comment, they tell you if you're standing in their way, they're talking on the phone, and so on. If this is annoying for you, then you can also use this setting with the gameplay density to reduce the amount of pedestrians in general that are around you, and with this also reduce the amount of chatter and the amount of voices that is played around you. But then again, if you set this to ultra, or probably somewhere in between, but if you set this to ultra, this city is definitely more vivid and feels more alive. Next up, we have another very important setting that I also encourage you to try out or to check out, and this is the camera follow behavior. This can be found under settings again, of course, then gameplay, and then over at camera, and then you can scroll down to camera follow behavior and can set it between tight and loose. It should be at loose by default, at least if you use the experienced controls, but you can also set it to tight, which will basically give you the same effect or same camera effect that you had in season 3 and in season 2 and 1. So with the camera set to tight, the camera will follow you much more and will follow your turns with not as much of a delay. And when you set it to loose, then you can see that there is a lot of delay between your skater making turns and the camera following. So it's a bit like someone filming you while skating, and I feel like it looks a lot more realistic. This is of course also connected to the horizontal and vertical follow strength of the camera that you can also set under the camera settings, but I think this is completely personal preference. And another setting that was added and that I think you should know about is the new grind trick autocorrect. This can be found under gameplay and then assists, and then you just scroll down to grind trick autocorrect, and by default this should be turned off. But what happens when you turn this on is that the game automatically adjusts your grind to the closest grind trick when your grind that you're actually aiming for cannot be landed successfully. So it's basically another grind assist, and that's also what it feels like. So if you turn this on, I tried it a little bit, it makes the game, well, less frustrating because you basically hit almost all of your grinds, but with this grind trick autocorrect, I felt like I was pulled more into grinds again, and sometimes into grinds that I didn't even want it to do. So it felt like the game is basically overcorrecting my grinds and not just correcting them a little bit. So I would not really recommend to turn this on, especially if you want to have as much control as possible over your game and over your grinds. Now, moving on to another new feature that we got, which I think probably most of you have already noticed. This is the session marker that you can set to lip mount. So in season 3, when you have been mounted to a lip and you set a session marker and then rolled in and then went back to that session marker, then you were not mounted anymore. But now in Season 4, this is working, so you can set your session marker while you are mounted on the lip, drop in, go back to your session marker, and you're still mounted on that lip. It is a little bit glitching sometimes. I found myself under the map the first few times that I tried it, but for the most part, it does work well, and it does make skating vert a lot better and a lot more comfortable. Then another little tweak that we got in between that might not be as obvious, especially when you're not doing these tricks much, but they have updated the animations for the 1-foot ollies. If you do them a lot, you might have noticed this already, because it is definitely a noticeable change. It looks different, looks more smooth, more natural, and I also feel like they take a little bit more time to perform those 1-foot ollies now. Moving on, we also got some more tweaks to the throwdowns that you might have not noticed yet. First of all, when you start a throwdown and you make your settings and then you actually drop that throwdown, when you do the next, or when you create the next throwdown, you will start with the exact same settings that you had before. So you will not get reset into the default settings every time you start a new throwdown, but instead the game remembers your old settings and you will always start with these old settings into the next throwdown. And two smaller things that they changed as well is that when you are creating the throwdown, when you increase or decrease the size of the boundary, the camera zooms in and out automatically and adjusts to the size of the boundary, so you can actually see where the boundary is. And they have also added an option that a throwdown starts automatically if more than 2 players are in the queue for this throwdown. And then lastly, just two, simple things, but definitely useful things. First of all, the daily tasks are now shown on the main menu hub, so you don't have to click on the tasks to see your dailies. You see them in the hub and can just cycle through them. And we have pinned tasks now, so you can pin your dailies, your weeklies, or whatever kind of task, or your mastery tasks, so you don't forget about them. You can pin up to 3 tasks. You can then find them in the pinned tab, and when you go back to your game, you can also find them on your HUD in the top left corner, and then when you press the right stick, you can simply cycle through them, which I think is a great feature. Unfortunately, the tasks are not automatically unpinned when you complete a task. This would be a great feature to add in one of the future updates. And then we also got a neat little tweak for the challenges, because now you can find smaller challenge icons for the challenges where you have everything completed except for the co-op part. So if you were wondering why some of your challenges are shown smaller than others, these are the ones you have already completed, so you don't have as much clutter on your map anymore, and only the ones that you have not fully completed yet or that are new are still shown with this big icon. And that was it for today. Just a few things, like I said, where I want to give you a heads up that they were added to the game. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye bye!